Okay, so as a means of making up for my last video, which was it went downhill. Okay, it went south. Video did not go how I planned it to. But to commemorate, like to make up for that, right? We're gonna go ahead and see if just because I wanted to prove what I was saying there, right? About being like kind of enlightened. But really, what I was trying to say is I'm sort of a deep thinker, right? If I had to say so myself, if I could in any way say so myself, I don't know if that's a lot of those definitions and sort of labels that you're gonna put on yourself. A lot of times they do also count on having other people being able to tell you that themselves. So I mean, I claim whatever, and that would be just one side of a duality. For me to claim that I'm a deep thinker, well, I have one bit, but I'd also need the other bit, in which I exist in many dualities, right? There's a lot of ambiguity there about what people are. I mean, I'm not just a deep thinker. If I were to say I'm a deep thinker, then that would be a crazy oversimplification, right? It'd be, just simply, um, just simplifying myself down to a singular label, right? It's like I am just going to commit philosophical suicide if I go and say, well, I am just an American. I am just a Salvadorian. I am just a member of society. I am just a Christian. I am just a Muslim. I am just a video game player. I am just a YouTube reaction video maker. If I said I was just, and then I would go and carry myself and go on believing that that is just what I am. Or if I listen to society and I say, well, I am just a worker and a consumer, a worker and a consumer. Well, you lie on a lot of dualities, right? What you are is a lot of dualities. And if I was to say I'm a deep thinker, well, then that's my bit. Let's see if other people could then go ahead and confirm for me that I'm a deep thinker. But basically, this is what I was talking about loneliness, right? Let's see what Jordan Peterson has to say. Are deep thinkers more lonely? And that would be me, right? In this situation, it might be me, and it might be able to back up my fucking rant that I had going on last time, about why sometimes I feel sad that a lot of my happiness has to depend on a lot of people. And I don't mind that. Like I'd love to. I love being friends with other people. I love helping people. I love giving value to people, potentially being of service to people. I love that. Um, but sometimes people just they really do, man. Let's see what Jordan Peterson has to say
One of the
about it.
things that I've realized is that people that are self-reflective, that rely on cerebral horsepower, that pay attention, that think in a detailed way, the more nuanced that your thinking is, the fewer people are going to be like you, which makes you feel more alone. How do you think
Yes,
people can overcome
I
this?
feel that.
Well, I would say that hasn't been my experience exactly,
Okay.
because as I started to make my thoughts more public, they seem to appeal to more and more people. And so I don't know if that's a threshold.
Well, that's probably because, well, when you do that, it's gonna get to people who there's echo chambers that happen with the internet, wherein a lot of your content is gonna get pushed towards people that believe the sort of same things that you believe. I don't necessarily try to push any particular like overarching theme in any of my shit. I think one of Jordan Peterson's overarching themes, I would say personally, from what I've managed to decipher, is probably tr- the value of tradition, the value of traditional values, traditional ways, the traditional ways of doing things. Because I know he's more of a conservative man, but he's a very, very smart man, and he likes tradition. He likes to do things in an organized way. He likes organization. Um, yeah, I'd say so. So a lot of people that, sort of see the world in the same way that he does. I don't want to call it pushing an agenda. Because I wouldn't know what to tell you what the agenda is. Agenda seems like a very ugly word. We associate it with like very certain shit that I don't think anything that Jordan B. Peterson has ever talked about really. I don't think that really fits agenda. But I think you could also make an argument that everybody has an agenda. No, I don't think anybody's free of that. If you're trying to teach people something, if you're trying to make them believe or see things or think in a certain way, then maybe you are pushing an agenda after all. But that's why I would say maybe he would disagree, right? He would say, well, I've actually had more people. I found a lot of people, right? Oh yeah, depends. I'm gonna see if I get bigger. If I will say the same thing he's saying. Let's see if my videos get out there. If I'll have more and more people. But the internet can help with that. I don't disagree. Like if I have people that think the same way that I can, which is not impossible, but it is kind of rare, then I'm sure if I was gonna find those types of people, the internet would be a very good way. Don't you think?
Told phenomena, because maybe it is, as you start to become specialized as a scientist, in some sense your vision narrows and narrows, although it gets more high resolution at the level that you're operating, but you kind of pass through a needle, let's say, out the other side where the thing you're studying starts to become everything again. And so maybe that's that developmental progression.
Further, more.
Yeah, specialization and then
Generalization again. Yeah, I think that you might be right there. The deeper into the breach thing, the show that I went to go and see you do in Manchester in 2017 or 18, someone asked a question about the depth of my consciousness causes me to suffer, and you said you take more of the thing that poisons you until you turn it into a tonic that girdles the world around you. And I think that this is something you see here as well, that when you start to think differently, when you start to consider the way that you're living your life in a more detailed, higher resolution, more unique, more nuanced way, you will probably receive pushback, especially, speaking from personal experience, in normal working class towns, people born, live, die in these places, it's insular. There isn't a huge culture of, especially in the UK, tall poppy syndrome is a huge problem. The biggest difference that I've noticed actually between
Tall poppy
American people and English people is that American children are told that they can be anything that they want to be. They're told that they have blue sky vision, they can achieve whatever they want. And that gives them a lot of confidence.
I was
when
never really
us
told that.
Brits, stuffy, stiff upper lip Brits see Americans on TV, it sounds like everyone's had media training because everybody's just so enthused about whatever it is, even if it's a 18-car pileup. And then the equivalent in the UK is that deviating from the norm is very, very, very quickly mocked. And
there's a lot of that in Canada too.
tall poppy syndrome, it's a big deal.
Tall puppy syndrome. My space bar does not work. Tall puppy syndrome. Tall poppy. Focus on turnovers. Is a cultural phenomenon which people hold back, criticize, or sabotage, mock those who are believed to have achieved notable success in one or more aspects of life. Part of your conscious. Okay. Makes sense.
Now,
The Japanese have that saying too, except it's the nail that sticks up above all the rest is the first one to be struck down by the hammer. Right. And there's some truth in that too. There's some truth in that, but some and all are very different words.
when you roll the clock forward, what you end up with is American children that then become adults who look around at the world and say, well, hang on, this wasn't what I was promised. I was told that I could be anything that I wanted to be. I was told that I could have anything that I wanted to have.
Well, you can have anything that I feel, if probability allows it, you can have anything that you really want to be. I don't think you can have anything. I think you can have what you really want to be. Like, anything would require that, okay, I can become anything. I could become an astronaut, or maybe I could become a chef, right? But it's not about becoming anything. What it really means is you can become what you want to be. Like, if you have a passion and you're going to devote your entire being into that thing, then you can most certainly achieve that thing. But you can't just achieve anything. But you can achieve the thing that you probably want most. And I believe that truly. If you're willing to work for it, of course. The possibility is there. Does it mean that it's always going to happen, even if you do want it? No, not for everybody. That just doesn't really happen. Otherwise, everybody would have their dreams, but not everybody works as hard for. There's a lot of variables, though.
Difference between you can earn everything that is earnable and you deserve everything there is. So that message can become what you say, it can become misinterpreted in a narcissistic manner. And I think that has happened to some degree, especially as people have had fewer and fewer children. You know, Jonathan Haidt and Luke Enough talk about the coddling of the American mind, and they think about that in large part as a consequence of an ideological transformation. And some of that's true, but it's also useful to look at more fundamental phenomena. People have children when they're a lot older. They have way fewer children. They have way more resources when they have children on average. You know, if you're one kid of 8, you're pretty much battling it out for attention, for a very finite amount of parental attention with a lot of intense competition. And the probability that you're going to come out of that entitled and narcissistic is pretty damn low, because your siblings will definitely punish you for that. But if you're the only child, especially of older parents who are also more conservative because of their age and also less willing to take chances with you because there's only one of you, and then you have a lot of resources at your disposal, well, that's a whole different developmental milieu. And we have no idea what the consequences of that are, but the idea that children in that circumstance are more likely to be overprotected and dependent and structured, it's like, well, yeah, undoubtedly. And you know, that would even be an overabundance of parental virtue in some sense, right? Well, we just did nothing but pay attention to our child. Okay, but too much.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
It's so strange because I'm an only child, right? And all of the, well, maybe my friends might say differently, but a lot of the commonly held presumptions around only children, and I have a couple of friends who are as well, and I don't know whether it's where we're from, that the northeast of the UK is very spit and sawdust, it's salt of the earth people, it's, you know, grab your bootstraps and your boots and start pulling. And I just haven't seen that. What is it through your clinical practice? Would there
This might not be a primarily working class phenomena, you know, the coddled mind phenomena. That could easily be a middle class and upper phenomena.
Is there something, was there a common trend, or from your reading have you found that only children tend to be one way or another?
No.
So you just get huge variance in them as well?
I don't know the answer to that at the level of individual psychological data. There might be a literature. I'm not aware of it. That, for me, that was more a response to Haidt's book on the coddled mind. I thought, okay, fair enough. Coddling of the American mind. What's driving this? It's not just ideas. It's a huge demographic switch. It's a huge transformation in the way we raise children. We're 10 years older when we have our children.
Jesus Christ. Went from deep thinkers to fucking... I've never met an intelligent person who wasn't troubled. It comes with the burden of thought. The more you think, the deeper you go. Lots of beauty to unlock, but also a lot of pain. Yeah. I became happy when I realized my lack of friendships had more to do with my own disinterest than my perceived sense of rejection. Well, that's also very true. Fuck it. I have to finish the video.
No, that's a lot older. You know, when you're 18 and you have a kid, you're still a kid. And that there's some wildness that's perhaps not so good about that, but there's also perhaps a higher proclivity to go off and live your own life. And then, you know, how much should your children be left on their own? Answer is as much as they can tolerate. And how much is that? Well, you find out with each child. But it's certainly possible to not deprive your child enough.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe.
Modern wisdom. Such a handsome man, too, this guy. Chris
So we looked at this
Jesus
Wall Street
Christ.
Journal article about...
Look at this guy. Look at his banner. Oh, you know this guy is swimming. Jesus Christ. Wise and handsome? My God. This guy's the top of the food chain. Top of the fucking food chain over here. Let me get the young sub off on Chris Williamson. Fuck with it, man. So the answer is he doesn't feel, Jordan says he doesn't necessarily feel that the deepest of thinkers are from his personal experience, he doesn't feel too lonely, maybe. But maybe he did before, but then when he actually started sharing it, he then went on to, find more friends, sharing some of that. So maybe it's like what he said, it's like, maybe it's more to do with your own disinterest than your perceived sense of rejection. So maybe it's not that other people are necessarily rejecting you, but maybe your like threshold and your standards for your friends and for who they are and for how you're gonna pick them based on who they are as people, on their personality, what they like, the types of things that they're into, all that stuff. It might just be more of your own disinterest in that, and you having higher standards as to who you're picking to be your friend, who you're allowing to give yourself, who you're allowing to give that much energy to, than a perceived sense of rejection. It's very interesting. No, yeah, I definitely do think I need to try to make more friends, try to have more relationships, healthy ones and good ones, and hopefully some that last pretty long, because I do realize the necessity in that. I mean, you can't get anywhere alone. You just can't do it. As much as I can say, fuck people, as much as I can say, most people don't have a distinct personality. They just conform. They just try to fit in like everybody else. And I can't really blame them. I can't say that they're losers for that. It's just, it's unattractive to me. It's just like, you people aren't even genuine. You people are just a copycat of everybody else, and you're just fitting in and doing what everybody else is doing, trying so hard not to get judged, And it's like, you're not even original. I want somebody who's original. I want somebody who can not make fun of. Maybe we can talk about something interesting. It doesn't have to just be interesting. We can talk about something stupid, goofy too. Don't matter. Don't really care. I'm not somebody that's just boring as fuck that only wants to do, philosophy studies. I mean, I can be into all types of things. We can talk about all types of things. I can, you have to be able to be spontaneous. You have to be mysterious in a lot of ways. You have to be able to have a broad, so you gotta be fun to be around, and I'm definitely trying to make sure that is the case, to be somebody that's fun to be around, that people would want to be around, that is not boring, because people, obviously when you're boring, that's a very important factor for whatever reason, but it is people don't like to be bored. People like somebody that's fun. We're more attracted to that. We're more drawn to that. We don't want to just be bored all the time. We don't want to waste our time with somebody that's boring us. Would you? If somebody was like super fucking boring, you don't want to waste time on that person. That person's fucking boring. They're not hitting the same energy as you. And that's another thing, is matching your energy. I don't feel a lot of people are matching my energy. I'm not gonna hold you. So maybe that's also that, right? That your own disinterest because they don't match my energy, so I'm not interested in being your friend. Or maybe they're not interested in being my friend. It doesn't just have to come from me. They can realize that I'm on a different wavelength. They're on a different wavelength. What does that even mean? But hopefully you guys enjoyed, man. Jordan Peterson, Our Deep Think is More Lonely by Chris Williamson. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want me to react to next, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm just looking over here when I do that because I'm slowly clicking the stop recording button. So, yeah.